with it, in the hood with it. Welcome back to the Collective Clips, where you already know we get it in. But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding! Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content I am kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel, and it's all because of you. And for that, I can say I'm very humbled. I'm very much so appreciative. So let's get straight to it. I was asked a question. I love answering questions, man. Especially like questions that I don't really know too much about. Then it makes me think, right? I get educated while trying to educate others. And that's a great thing, man. You're never too old for education. Klecha. And the way the Hawk says it, orderly. Let's get some klecha, right? So I'm about to give you some klecha. I was asked if all white men are woods, right? And the answer is very simple. No. Okay, not all white men are woods. You know, the woods term or the label was given to the white man in prison by themselves in California, in the California system. You know, it's a shortened word for the word peckerwood, right? The peckerwoods. So when I first started doing time back in the days in '96, when I got out of the youth authority, that's when I started my adult time. You know, my first time in an adult prison or adult county jail was in 1996. I just got out of YA. I wasn't out too long, and boom, here I am going in the county jail. Now, the county jails were structured very, very differently. See, back in my county, now compared to then, 180. Totally different, right? Back then, everybody was together. You know, I mean, we were segregated by our people. You know, whites would eat with whites, blacks with blacks, Mexicans with Mexicans. They kept the north and south in my county very, very separated and segregated, because in county jails, it's pretty much a get off where you're mad at, mandatory rush, you know, gangbanging back then, you know, so everybody was kept apart. But there was more freedoms. There was more, you know, respect as far as, you know, everybody interacting. I remember going to the county jail the very first time. They put me on a block, 3 block, and they're 8-man cells. And when I walked into that cell, there was a couple homeboys from my neighborhood, homeboy from Oakland, couple blacks, you know, an Asian, couple whites. That's just how it was. And we all got along pretty much. You know, we all got along. No one politicked on each other. No one tripped. But I remember seeing tattoos on some of these white men that had been in prison in the California system already. Big old peckerwoods across their back and on their neck. And they wanted everyone to know that they were a wood brother. They liked coffee, meth, and death metal, right? And so they were cool though. You know, my interaction always has been with the woods. You know, I understand that because of politics in prison, you know, we couldn't sit at the day room together, play cards and have conversations. But on the streets, man, I had homeboys like Roach, you know, Superwood, several other white men, man, that were just cool people. You know, I didn't see them no difference. They've been, you know, a lot of people like to think that all white men are born privileged or they got white privilege. And maybe in some states it may be like that. But in California, ain't no one got no privileges. Guess what you get? Hard dick and bubble gum. And guess what? They're all out of hubba bubba. Okay? So you have to fight for everything you have. You have to go through the system. And there's a lot of white families that are in the system right now. When they say trailer trash or trailer park trash, man, that's just another label they give them. Wasn't no trailer parks in my neighborhood, but there were white men. There were white kids running around on their BMX bikes right along with us. So I grew up amongst the whites, blacks, the roaches, everybody, right? Everybody and everything, and everybody was treated equally. Yes, even the roaches, right? Everyone got treated equal. So that's when I first started doing time, and I started seeing peckerwoods and everything. Then as time crept by, more structured mentality, more politics from prison started to leak off into the county system. Well, everything changed, you know. Then, you know, the North Enders were segregated to their own active block, and the whites and the blacks were put on what they called the general population yard or tier, where it was just, you know, them. And then, of course, you had the Southsiders, who had always been segregated in my county, continue to do their thing on one block. That's just how that's always been. But aside from the gang stuff, you know, they never changed, the woods. They always were together. They always had a strong mentality. They were always cool people to me. Now, when I went to prison and I realized that they were on the other side, meaning they were the enemies, they were who we were told were pretty much our most dangerous adversary. Reason being, we didn't have too much interaction with Southsiders. We didn't have too much willings and dealings. For the most part, in the beginning, when I'd go to yards with Southerners, it was very, very respectful, but very distant. So I get asked by a lot of people, hey, do you know my homeboy from here? Have you ever done time with a homeboy from there? And yeah, probably, but I couldn't tell from way over there on the other side of the yard. Usually the guys that I would see with their shirts off, tatted down, that I could recognize as being from that Valley or that area, I didn't have a conversation with, but that was in the building, maybe on the way to showers, or, them just walking through the day room or doing their thing. Again, you have to understand when it comes to the North and South, the blacks and the whites, everybody segregates themselves. I've said it before, man, the whites, the natives, and the Southsiders kick it on one side of the day room. There's the guards tower that's in the middle, separates them. On the other side, it would be the blacks, the others being the Usos, the Asians, and of course the Norteños, the Northerners. Bulldogs didn't really come into play because they were always segregated and had their own yards, So however they got down, they got down. But that's how it was on the active yards. People were separating themselves. So there was whites that I knew from my county, from the county jail, that I used to play pinochle with or chop it up with, I was now in prison. And I knew that if anything, I could probably get closer to that guy just because of the, being familiar with each other. And he was going to be the one that I was probably going to stab if it went down. It's unfortunate to say that, but that's the life we lived, right? Now, I got asked, are other whites in other states considered woods? People like J.D. DeLay, right? Who's allegedly from a gang called Irish Pride in Oregon. And he went through the Oregon system. No. Okay, they are not considered woods. Now, when you meet a big old rough and tough white guy, automatically having done time in California, we're always going to be like, what up, wood? Right? That's just, it gets normalized. Okay, the slang in there, what you call a white man, that's a form of respect. Like, what's up, wood? They're going to be like, what's up, SA? Right? They're not going to be like, hey, what's up, NA? Or what's up, Norte? Or it's not going to be like that. They're going to be like, hey, what's up, SA? Or what's up? That's it. Because it's just the ways that you're taught, and what you see and hear after a while becomes normal, becomes common. But no, in other states, they have different things going on, different prison organizations, different prison gangs, and pretty much wherever you're at, you have to roll with those politics and go by those rules. I know a lot of people tap into the prison genre and they trip out on, stories about, that I tell, and they're like from New York or Florida, and I'm telling the story about, Corcoran or Susanville or Tracy or Jamestown or a high desert, whatever prison I'm talking about right at that time. And it blows their mind because they can't understand the racial makeup of it, the segregation, why individuals are stabbing each other based off of color or idealisms. But that's just the way it is, man. You get in where you fit in or you get fitted out. Facts. Now, in other states, and I've done time in other states, it was a little bit of a different mentality. Not too much different, slightly different. But there are other states where nobody cares about what color you are. It's all about heart. They heart check you. If you're down to sit in the ride, brother, then you're down to sit in the ride, right? But then there are other states where, they do segregate themselves just based upon color, skin color, and idealisms. And I think human nature, it's always going to be like that. You identify more with your people. And when I say your people, people that look like you, people that are into the same things as you. But don't get it twisted, man. As humans, we have the freedoms, the liberties, the rights to think for ourselves and be about whatever we want. I trip homeboys out because I listen to oldies one day, R&B, rap, rock, country. I listen to a little bit of everything. And, I remember one time I was in my cell. True story, Susanville. And we had a boombox in there, me and my cellie. And he was into country music as well, right? He liked it. And so we're getting our Garth Brooks on in there. We're bumping, you know what I'm saying? I got friends in low places. Brother, break out the fucking Folgers, right? We're fucking getting our wood on in there. And this wood walks by. He's on his cell was 2 cells down from ours, right? And on one side, we had other homies. There was a homeboy from Salas, another homeboy from Watson. And then next to us, we had a couple Southsiders. One was from Sangra. The other one was from Townsville. right? And so I remember where everyone was from, man. You never forget. That's one thing about as being a norteño active at that time. Your awareness was up. You knew who was where, what cell they were in, what the fuck they were eating for lunch. Like that, we were trained to stay aware of our surroundings, because if anything was off in prison, you could tell if anything is slightly off, someone's getting offed. That's it. You know, for those that are just in there fucking thinking they're just doing time and being goofy, you're gonna get goof trooped. Real talk. So, anyways, he's walking by, coming back from the showers, and he hears and he looks in. I guess he forgets that it's a norteño cell, and common courtesy and respect in prison, you don't look into anyone's cell. Okay, you just don't, unless it's your homeboys. That's different. Or you're invited to, right? You're going up to homie shit. Cool, but you, even if it's you're doing business with someone, you alert them of your presence. You could knock, just like on the streets, knock or hey brother, you know what I mean? Get at him through the crack in the door. Hey, can I get at you? Can I get at you? You know what I mean? There's ways to do it. You can go from a distance and hand signal them, but you don't just walk up in their cell and look in. Well, he did. And we're in that motherfucker rocking. I ain't gonna lie. I'm in that motherfucker air guitaring. You know what I'm saying? My motherfucking my bunky's on his bunk playing the banjo, all right? And he looks in and he was like, "That's some good fucking tunes, Woods," right? Woods. Now, some people could have took that as disrespect. I didn't. He's seen us rocking out, right? He was like, "All right, cool," you know. Ever since that day right there, every time he seen me, prior to that date, he would see me he had a big old whip, I remember, big old peckerwood on his chest, big old 23, and he'd walk by and he was always real tough, right? Combing his shit. Shit, brother, right? You know, one of them old school Woods, just scruffle-luffle, ass voice, you know, just been through you never know what he's been through. You know, just bed bugs went inside his throat and just ate his throat up, right? What's up, brother, right? Coffee. Got coffee, right? One of them dudes. But after that day, it was like, it opened his eyes to see that these Mexicans ain't too bad, are they, brother, right? So every time he walked by or I'd catch his eye, he'd be like, and that right there, man, meant a lot. That right there was respect. You know, just something as simple as listening to country music earned his respect because it opened his eyes to, you know, not everyone fucking is on just one genre, and I know it doesn't seem like it means a lot, but in prison, that goes a long way. It goes a very long way, you know. It's just a respect thing. So anyways, you know, I've heard stories about in other states, you know, where it's very racial, like Alabama, where it's like the whites are getting taken advantage of. They're getting preyed upon, you know. So, and I always tripped out. I was like, that could never happen in California. Not ever. You know, the Woods, the skinheads, the white men, period, are with the business. Okay, they're probably some of the most dangerous individuals you'll ever come across. Their weaponry game, their knife game it's light years ahead of everyone else. Okay, they're Israel to your Turkey, right? I'm telling you, these guys are making fucking swords in there. You know, hey, look, I know a lot of people like, and I even do my Superwood stories and I talk about the methed up situations, and you think white man crazy, lawnmowers in the front yard, and hey, a tweaker could build anything, right? But look, man, let's be honest. You know, a lot of the guys living that lifestyle, a lot of the guys getting incarcerated, a lot of the Woods, you know, we're living that lifestyle. Not just them, everybody was. Everybody was getting high. Everybody was on a good one. Everybody was on a mission, right? But when you think about meth and you think about, you know, the get down, you think about a white man, a Wood, right? And I don't know if that's the truth or not, but I'm going to tell you right now, Holmes, for facts. Them motherfuckers, they be in their cells just like mad scientists, creating shit. They're builders. You know, them motherfuckers are in that motherfucker pouring concrete, right? They're doing something. They definitely, I've always seen the Woods in California prison system as the opposite side of the coin of the paisas. You walk past the paisa side, he's in there sewing and got his cell all hooked up and he got his windows all blacked out and he's just in there doing his thing, man. It's like a little workshop. Motherfuckers in there like Geppetto making shoes, right? It's what it is. They're hard workers. Same thing with the whites. Like I said, they might come out with something that works or it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? They might build a time machine in that motherfucker. Brother, I got an idea. We're getting the fuck out of here. No, I ain't trying to escape, bro. No, brother. See, I was on the toilet, right, taking a big old shit, and I bumped my head, right? No, I seen that movie, bro. It's called Back to the Future. Listen here, Wood. It's my story. Let me tell it, brother. And I bumped my head, right? And I came up with this, right, drawing. Let me guess, it's the flux capacitor. No, motherfucker, it's the wood capacitor. Let's go, right? We're gonna teleport about this bitch. And next thing you know, they're in there fucking collecting all kinds of straws and springs and whatever they can get, man, to build this fucking time machine. I'm just saying that's just, the wood mentality. They're different, but again, they like to play and have a good time, but you don't fuck with them. They'll fuck your whole career off. You know what I'm saying? They'll slide some metal so deep inside your gut, it'll come out your back, playing peekaboo. But to answer the question, no, not all white men are woods. Not all consider themselves woods. In fact, it's a trip because there's a lot of white guys that function on the streets and just kick it with everybody. They're not into that. They're not into the gang life. They're not into the street life. They get caught up for a DUI, a couple too many DUIs, or a vehicular manslaughter, or anything. And then they go in and their eyes get open to, the propaganda or to what they have to do, the politics. And I've seen, and to me, that kind of reminds me of like a resident, okay, and from the southern side, right? Someone who, and then there's different types of residents. Don't get it twisted. I'm not disrespecting the residents at all because, man, I met some residents that are with the business. The majority of them are. A man's a man. He's going to stand on his regardless of where he's from. But, someone that just never been part of that life, that just doesn't know no better but got caught up and went to prison. He's got a good case. He's not a fucking rat. He's not a punk. He just, is in no man's land, Holmes. But he's willing to adapt. And I've seen some of them dudes come out sharp as iron, Holmes. I've seen some of them just come out heavy metal, really about the business. That actually the takeover was real. So, it's kind of like that with the whites. You get some guys that go in there that, they were outside on the streets bumping Tupac, and then they get in there and, brother, they get out bumping Slayer. It's just how it is. I don't think any different of them because I know what it is to have to adapt to your gente. There was a lot of politics when I was active that I didn't believe in or I didn't agree with. But you keep your fucking mouth shut, okay? You understand when and when not to voice your opinion. The first time I tried to really voice my opinion and put my foot down and stand 10 toes down like these youngsters say, stand 10 toes down for yours, Holmes, that's a real one. Well, when I attempted to be a real one, you know what I'm saying? I got a lot of real backlash. I got told, Holmes, shut up. Keep it quiet. Don't worry about it. It's the realer you get, Holmes, the more people look at you like, hey, Holmes, you're just doing too much. If you're going against the grain or the program or what's going on, whether it's the right or wrong thing, doesn't matter. You go with the flow. I know that now. Would I did this, thinking back now in hindsight, would I have done the same thing that I did? Absolutely, right? I still would have did it. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the way I was laced up and educated in the game, I was told a certain thing and I stood by them. I stood by them morals, them standards. There was a lot of times, I wasn't 100% Buddha. There was a lot of times that I slept when I wasn't supposed to, There was times when I just tucked the bundle instead of hooping it, right? There was certain little things I did, but for the most part, when it came to the major shit, when it came to functioning out on that yard in a correct manner because we were on display for all the other races and all the other, ethnicities, all the other gangs, then I was on point. Within my cell, my cellie fucked it off a little bit, We slept when we weren't supposed to, or, we stood up later than we should have, and shit, little stuff, right? Everyone does. You and your cellie kick it. It's prison, man. You got to make it fun. But once we hit that yard, Holmes, we were on soldado status. We were doing everything we had to do, writing all our reports, all that shit we didn't want to do, but we had to do. So I could understand on the wood side, it's the same damn thing. But I know I'm rambling, but to get on with it, man, not all white men are woods. Would be J.D. DeLay, would he be considered a wood? No, because he's not from California. That's not his politics. It's just not the way that they rock over there, right? Now, as far as people like Wes Watson, was he a wood? Yes. Yes, he was a wood. When you're a white man and you go into the California system, you're only one of two things. You're a wood, brother, right? Or you're a skinhead. You're a head, oi. That's it. Those are your two options, right? And most skinheads come from the streets like that. I've said that many spills. And they're a different class, a different breed, a different mentality, right? They're vicious. You don't fuck with them dudes, period. They'll fuck your life off. The Woods, more laid back, less political, but will do exactly what they have to do to get by. Now, I'm not saying Wes Watson was doing that. I'm saying, that's the persona and the image he puts on. He was shot calling everywhere he went. Really, the only thing he ever broke was a fucking dip bar. He ain't never broke nothing. He ain't never broke bread. He ain't never broke nothing. But he still would. You can't take that away from him. That's a title that they gave themselves. And it's, like I said, comes from Peckerwoods. I remember, I'll tell you a quick little story. I had my first baby's mom is half white, right? She's half white, half Mexicana. Her dad's Mexican, her mom's white. They're all good people, right? And when I've told stories in the past, when I met her, she was older than me. She was about 30. I was 18. I bamboozled her, told her I was a little bit older. She fell for it. Poor her. Come to find out, she was the young acting one, and I was the one that wanted to get my shit together. But that's our business. Anyways, since I put it out there, though, her mom had like a lot of different dudes that she had fucked with in the past. And one of the dudes that my baby's mother had grown up with was a dude named JW, right? And she used to always talk about him. Yeah, he was like the stepdad that I liked the most. He used to take me for ice cream. He was nice. He was a big old white dude, right? I was like, cool. She'd tell her those stories. I'd listen. But, motherfucker was in Old Folsom doing life. So one day I'm at work, and she calls me out of the blue, and she's like, hey, is it all right if my dad stays with us for a while? So I'm like, sure. Her real dad used to come around. We were cool. He was a Mexicano dude. Good people, right? So I'm thinking, damn, he had a nice pad right down the street. We lived in an apartment. He had a fucking home right down the street from us. So I'm like, what is moving a block away going to change? But I was thinking maybe if I with his old lady, anything, I'm not going to question it's her dad. I'm trying to stay getting my mom, so I'm going to be cool, right? So I'm like, yeah, he can stay. It's all good. She was like, yeah, because we had a little 2-bedroom because our daughter was just born. She was like, the baby can move in with us, sleep with us, and boom, my dad could have the room. I was like, yeah, whatever. It's good, right? So here I am sacrificing my daughter's room for my father-in-law. But it's, you got to do that sometimes. That's Mexican shit, right? We all stick together. So I get to the pad, and there's the biggest, evilest looking fucking Metallica member sitting in my living room, right? This motherfucker looks like a fucking, a cracked out fucking Bon Jovi, but on swole, right? I walk in, he stands up and keeps standing up for a while, right? And I'm like, God dang. He's like, what's up, brother? Big JW, J-Dub, right? I'm like, and it clicks in my mind, oh, this is that big motherfucker she was talking about, right? So I'm like, God damn, right? Hey, let me put my Jack in the Box apron away, bro. Right? I was working at Jack in the Box back then. I ain't gonna lie, man. I don't lie to kick it, right? So I do that shit. I put it away, and I ain't gonna lie. I'm sitting there like, man, if this motherfucker just wants to hit me, what can I do? I gotta take it, right? I just gotta. I'm running out this motherfucker. This he was a monster, right? But he's cool. And I remember he had a big old wood on his chest, and he was just sling back, old school tattoos, the fucking thing that you turn over, the sands of time, and clocks, and swastikas, and lightning bolts, and fuck everybody, and just crazy shit, right? And I remember he had a little briefcase, and he was like, hey, you don't mind? I'm just gonna stay for a few days, brother, and I'm trying to get weller, and then I'm gonna get on, right? Yeah, no problem, right? And I'm looking at my baby's mom, and she's like, yeah, it's my dad right here. And I'm like, bitch, don't ever call another man dad that isn't your dad. Because I'm feeling some type of way here, right? And he's like, damn, he's hugging her, patting her on her butt. You sure done growed up, right? I'm like, man, I'm going to quit my job around this motherfucker. So anyways, quietly as it's kept, we chopped it up all night. This fool ends up breaking out. He has a tattoo kit. He put an XIV on my chest, quacked it all up, lettering this big, right? I told him I want a big old XIV. I thought it was going to come out banging, right? This shit was all crooked as X. It looked like, I don't even know what it is, right? It's like a, right? IV. He fucked me up. But I ain't going to lie. He was cool people. And he educated me a lot into the Woods philosophies and all that. So that's where I get the game from on that. Anyways, with that being said, I hope I answered the guy's question, man. Are all white men considered Woods? No, they're not. No, they're not. Just the state of California. It's the prison system thing. And that's how it's always been. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive, the struggle, the struggle, the strive. I'm going to continue to do what I does right here, man, and provide the best possible entertainment I can. Make sure you guys tap into Gunners Collective TV. I'm dropping bangers over there all day. And is Super Northender going to get into the mix today? Psst. Hey, you guys are not going to believe what Ricky did to Pepe. This is the gun. Bang, bang.